But maybe only to me it means so much. And I don't know how much it means to the kids, if it means anything more. But I think it's done very well. Very well. At our school. It is done well at the Hashem as well as, it's a remembrance. It's something that you have to remember. Yes, I like it that everybody lights a torch, I just think who's going to light the torches in a few years now? Children off, I suppose. But yes, I think it's a nice way.
What about your Israeli experience? Did you change your name?
My
your name
first
was
name?
Yona?
No. I was called, in Italy we were called two names. One was the Jewish name given to us in the synagogue. And the second one was the Italian name by which we were called at school and everywhere. And my name, that I was called, my Jewish name was Taube. And Taube means Yona, a dove. In Italian I was called Antonia, and I was always called Antonia. At home I was called Taube. When we came to Israel, my father wrote Taube. And here in Israel they wrote Tova. And I didn't want to be Tova. And I said to my father that Taube means Yona. So that's why I was called Yona.
That was it difficult for your father?
Yes. My father didn't agree because he said, no, I called you Taube. And he thought it should be Tova. But then I convinced him that Taube means Yona in Hebrew. So, and he knew Hebrew. So, not that I'm mad about my name Yona, but at least it's my name. It's not Tova. Which has nothing to do with Taube or Antonia or anything. No, from the beginning it was called Yona.
Interesting then. The whole thing of names, different names, and how do you get used to another name?
Yes. My sister was called Tzipora as a Jewish name, and she was called Tzipi at home, and Cecilia in Italy. We all had Italian names. My cousin was called Edda, which was the name of the daughter of Mussolini. It was very common in Italy at that time. There was no reason why a Jew shouldn't. I mean, we were exactly the same. There was no. The problem in Italy, really, and I realized it again from the book that I read yesterday. The problem was that Mussolini went with Hitler, and he was a little puppy next to Hitler, yes, and he felt that he had to copy his master, Hitler, and I think that's the reason for the racial laws and all that, and actually, really, the problems for the Jews in Italy, the exterminations and all that, started only in 1943 when Hitler conquered the north of Italy because the Italians demoted Mussolini and they wanted to make a separate peace with the Allies, without Germany. And they were allies of Germany beforehand. And then Germany conquered Italy, so it was a place conquered like any other place. But beforehand, the Jews were not exterminated or put in camps or anything.
Quite a life.
Yes. Thank God that not everybody has that sort of life. my children and grandchildren have a peaceful life. And when you really think about it, as I said, when I read that book, just to think about it, that you can decide that he is different because he's Jewish, because he's black, because he's Muslim, because he's yellow.
How was it for you to accept
Different, okay, I agree that we're different, yes. Okay, we've got a different religion, so what? As human beings, we're exactly the same. It's not only that, but say if we're different, so one is to be killed and the other one. Unthinkable today, and to me it's unthinkable. I was thinking about it when I read the book that, and we know now, that there was a reason behind it. Okay, he hated Jews, there was a very, an economical reason behind it. And this reason behind the hatred for the Jews and the anti-Semitism, it goes all the way. Whenever there was any problem, blame the Jews. You forget your problem. Sorry, what did you want to ask?
Just know that I think economical in terms of slave labour, what?
No, it helped politically and economically. Politically, let's say. It helped Hitler to people didn't think about anything else but the Jews. And they had enough problems, yes. But the Jews were the problem. When politically you make people think about different problems, they forget about the other problems.
The question was, what did you feel like in South Africa?
I was an Israeli in South Africa. No, that was during the stage when there was no mention of the Holocaust, of anything, and there weren't many Holocaust survivors in South Africa. They all came from Russia and Lithuania before, much before us. Very few, I can't remember of any Holocaust survivor in South Africa. In Australia, yes. Afterwards, everything's like in Australia. But also at that stage, I didn't speak about it. I wasn't interested about it. It didn't exist. It didn't exist. Now, when I meet my Australian friends, when they come here, now I start asking how their families, from where did they come, and how did they survive, and all that. Now I start asking. At that stage, there might be another reason also now that I'm thinking about. I married an Israeli whose parents left Poland in 1934, 33, because they were Zionists and they came to Israel. And he was born in Israel. Their whole family perished in Poland. They had no family. But he was one of those proud, arrogant Israelis, suffering. And he told me once afterwards that he was very much ashamed. First time that he brought me to his friends, he was very much ashamed that he was marrying a new immigrant. But it wasn't him. That was the thought then. he was in a group of Israelis that were born here, that went to school here together. And he married a new immigrant, I was already, it was 10 years after I was in Israel. But I was 10 years in Israel. I came from the diaspora, from Europe. I wasn't one of that elite that was born in Israel. And they were definitely an elite in our eyes and in their eyes. It was very definite at that time. They were definitely an elite. Because their parents left Europe because they were Zionists. Not because they were driven out, because they were Zionists. And because they were born here, and we came, as shivering remnants of something. And they were definitely an elite. So maybe, again, that was a very good reason not to talk about it. It didn't exist.
You didn't talk about it with him?
No. No. But not only with him, it was closed.
That helped you.
What?
That helped you move on, close it.
I don't know if it was done on purpose, with thought. It was again a way to survive. That was the trend in those days, and you want to be one of the group, so you don't want to belong to these poor people that were killed and starved and had to run away and came as plitim. How do you say plitim? Refugees. We were refugees. We came as refugees to Israel. And they were the elite that accepted us or didn't accept us. We were definitely second-class citizens. Very different. We are talking about all those that came after 49. After 48, sorry. Those that came before 48 also. Those that came after 45. Definitely second-class citizens. And that was the trend. So, if you wanted to become one of the gang, you did not mention too much your past. Now we can afford to do it because Israel is really a melting pot. It's different. It's completely different. It's not the same thing. Israel and the Israelis have undergone some changes.
I mean, I could ask you about why they're different, but it's a long question. And how is it different? Why is it different?
Oh yes, that's too long.
One thing which interested me personally is, did you, when you were in South Africa and you saw apartheid, did it not?
That's a very good question. When I went to South Africa, it was in 61, 62. And I was very young. And I came there, I had one child, 11 months old. I was very young. I came there not to settle. We came there as shlichim. Originally for 2 years, I think. And then we extended it, the shlichut, and we were there 5 years. And it was not my place. It was not my problem. I obviously didn't think it was right, but I didn't give it too much thought, I must say. I came as a shaliach, in the Jewish community to do my job. And the servant was, the nanny was a black girl. I remember still, she was a very young girl. And when we left her with the baby, in the evening we brought her something good, something nice to eat back. And people said, no, you mustn't do that, you will spoil her or something like that. To us, she was a babysitter, somebody that worked in the house, just like anybody else. We lived there for 5 years. And then we came back to Israel. And 5 years later, we went to Australia. On the way to Australia, we passed by South Africa. We stayed for 10 days in South Africa. We visited all our friends. And then it hit. I was much older. After I had much older, 5 years older, yes. I had already 4 children. No, it was more. I mean, I was 10 years older than when I first came to South Africa. I lived in South Africa as an outsider. Then I went back to Israel, and I lived in Israel, and then I came back as a real visitor, but much more mature. And I remember that I was in the garden of very good friends of ours where we stayed on that visit. And I was looking at a black girl, a black couple passing by the room. And I said to myself, it hit me, I said, oh my God, because they are black. Just because they are black. They are not just different. Okay, they're black, they're different, but they're all that. They are different. They are treated differently, and that's how they are treated, and so on. I was, I said to myself, I couldn't live another day in South Africa. I couldn't have lived another day in South Africa. But these are stages in life. I don't know. People sometimes close their eyes to things for different reasons, and I couldn't have stayed. But look, in Australia, there's the same problem with the Aborigines, except it doesn't exist because they've killed them off. Just like in America, they've killed the Indians. So the problem doesn't exist. It's world history. History has changed, developed. Look, it's a big problem. I think this problem of racism is not going to go away. It's not going to go away. As long as we don't kill people because they are different, and we don't make them suffer because they're different, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I don't have the answers. I don't know. It's a big problem. I remember I was walking around in Paris. I was in Paris 3 times. And in London. And I saw the difference. More and more black people, more and more Indians. It somehow changes what you're used to. I don't know, it's better not to talk about it because it's a very difficult problem. I don't have the answers, I don't know. But we tend to do it also with the Russians now. We blame everything on the Russians. Violence, the Russians. Maybe there is some truth in it. Maybe, I don't know. It's different cultures. But the way is, let's say, we think the Russians are more violent because they drink more, which is a fact. So what? So again, let's look at the future. We don't have to kill them for that. We don't have to make them suffer for that. We have to integrate them. We have to integrate the children in our schools so that it will change. We will change maybe, and they will change, and something new will come out of it, something maybe better. But still, I don't know how we got to this point because it has got nothing to do with the Holocaust. With the Holocaust, I believe also that the Holocaust is not, it's not plain racism. It's something that never was before. You see, I agree with people that say that you cannot compare the Holocaust with anything. It's something, as I said, a different planet. It's not comparable to anything what the Germans or the Nazis did in the Holocaust. It's something unique, not comparable to anything. Not at all. So we can talk about racism, we can talk about this, but nothing compares to the Holocaust. Nothing. Not what was done in Africa and not what was done in Yugoslavia. It's not Holocaust. It's not the Holocaust that was done in Europe by the Nazis to the Jews. It's just not the same. Historically, if you look